So now we know more about the proposed route of the £32 billion HS2 high-speed rail network. Let's go now to Martin Tett, who's the leader of Buckinghamshire County Council and chairman of 51M collection of councils opposed to the project. He joins us from City Hall in Aylesbury, and also to Pete Waterman, record producer, rail enthusiast. He's on the board of the Cheshire and Warrington Local Enterprise Partnership. He's in Wincham in Cheshire. Thank you both for being with us. Martin Tett, now that we see the ambition, if you like, of extending this railway to the north of England, doesn't that really make a powerful case for it?
Well, I mean, this is obviously a rail enthusiast's dream day. But the reality is, if you're going to spend something like £32 billion worth of hard-pressed taxpayers' money, then you really do need to ensure that it does what it says on the tin and that this is good value for money. The reality is the business case for this has completely collapsed. There are far better, cheaper and, more importantly, quicker ways of delivering the capacity increase that we need in this country. And you don't need to blight people's lives, jobs and businesses for up to 20 years to do that. So, you know, this is the wrong project.
Such as what? How would you get high-speed rail links to the north of England?
Well, first of all, remember, there's a very different country here as opposed to countries like China, which is the comparison that people use. We're already a very densely populated country, a relatively small one, with a very good rail network. Now, that rail network needs upgrading, and it's been worked out that you could actually upgrade, for example, the existing West Coast Main Line. That would meet all of the forecast demand for about £3 billion, as opposed to £33 billion. And that would release something like £30 billion worth of expenditure, which could either be used to pay down the national deficit, or alternatively, we could invest in road and rail schemes right around the country, not just in the northwest, the northeast, right up in Yorkshire, in Wales, the southwest, and so on, that actually are used today by people. And that would bring jobs and growth quicker than something like High Speed 2, which is fundamentally a big prestige project. OK. Well,
let's go over to Peter Waterman on that. Mr Waterman, suggestion is this is a vanity project and we could save £30 billion by doing it more sensibly and practically.
Well, I've just worked out why I'm not a politician. Because I tell it like it is, and we need a new railway. And just earlier, Network Rail are going to spend £16.5 billion on the existing network in the next 5 years. That's apart from HS2, and that only keeps up with where we're at the minute. This is not a vanity project. This is a project that's needed. We haven't built a railway in Britain since 1902.
But is it needed? Well, I mean, just because we haven't built a railway since 1902, there are lots of things we haven't done since 1902. Is there any argument for doing them now, Mr Waterman?
The railways are at capacity, you know.
Mr Waterman first, I'll come back to you.
Oh, sorry. We need investment. We need movement. People move about. We're carrying more people on trains than ever before. You know, I just am amazed at the arguments because they don't hold water. And if we're looking for a business case, railways never have business cases because they always go where you don't expect them to go.
OK, Mr Tett, I mean, yours is really just a NIMBY case, isn't it?
Because
that you're the councillor in Buckinghamshire, head of the council in Buckinghamshire, and you don't think your people are going to get much advantage for it, so that's why you're opposed to it.
Adam, I mean, as a local councillor, one of the things you have to realise is that you have to take tough decisions. And I'm used to being very unpopular in Buckinghamshire on big infrastructure projects that have to be put in. But those are done when you have a very good business case. Pete's made two really important statements. First of all, you know, Victorians used to do things without business cases. That was done with private money. That was done by private investors who put their own money on the line because they believed it would pay back, and they obviously thought it was the right thing to do. What we're talking about here is £32 billion worth of hard-pressed taxpayers' money at a time of national austerity, which is a very dubious business case behind it.
A year,
you know, it's based on, for example, the assumption that people don't work on trains.
Let's be clear about this. We're talking about £1 billion a year over 30 years. That's not that much.
Let me finish, because... Yeah, let's just finish on that. I mean, you're talking about £32 billion worth of taxpayers' money. The whole business case was predicated on the assumption that businessmen didn't work on trains. Now, everybody knows in an era of iPhones and laptops and everything else, businessmen do work on trains. In fact, the DfT's had to admit that businessmen work on trains. So the business case has completely collapsed for this. And the other argument about capacity, which Pete wheels out, I mean, the DfT tried desperately to hide their own capacity figures. They wouldn't reveal them under freedom of information. They were forced to reveal them in the High Court recently that showed that actually at peak periods the West Coast Main Line is actually half empty. So this argument about capacity is complete nonsense.
OK, well, let's put that back to Pete Waterman. I mean, that does seem to me more important than a businessman saving time on his journey. Is the railway network grinding to a halt, isn't it?
I travel on the train 3 times a week from Warrington or Crewe or Runcorn, and the trains are full. If you travel at 1 o'clock or 12 o'clock, they might be empty, but not at 7 to 10 in the morning. They're full. And on Friday afternoon, you try and get a seat anywhere north of Nuneaton. Yeah, but you're including the 1 o'clock trains and the 12 o'clock and the 10 o'clock trains. No, but you're claiming you're going across a 12-hour, 14-hour day.
This is peak period.
I'm travelling on the trains. I'm not, you jump on the train. Jump on the train. No, you just don't want the railway to come through Buckinghamshire. Full stop.
I know that route very well.
That's your argument.
But the point is that you can actually provide that capacity. You can provide the increased capacity, everything that HS2 talks about in terms of organic growth, for around £3 billion, and that's been shown quite conclusively. Now, I understand you want to spend £33 billion, but it's taxpayers' money.
Anything you want, but not in my backyard.
It's nothing to do with that.
Anything you want, but not in my backyard is your argument. That is your argument. That is totally your argument.
Peter,
it
I've
doesn't
not
matter about
said
Northerners getting
anything
jobs,
like that.
being in London quicker. You have had great communication from Buckinghamshire into London for over 50 years. We in the North have had to put up with 2 hours. It's time we got a break, chaps. Let's bring the North a bit closer to the South and
Peter,
spread the wealth right across the country.
OK, well, let's give Mr Tett the last word on this.
If I can get a word in edgeways. Yeah, it would be nice to get a word in edgeways here. Attributed things to me that I just haven't said. I've said nothing in terms of, NIMBYism or anything like that. This is actually about the economic case, and it's supported by a whole range of economists and business people who've looked at this business case. It doesn't stack up. There are better alternatives that provide the capacity we need, provide it quicker, and we can get jobs and growth now when we really need it.
Thank you both very much indeed. Thank you.